Adam McGill is under fire from Walker Fowler in the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series. And in our last race, Fowler cruised to a dominant victory at Unadilla, while McGill would have troubles late for the second event in a row and was pushed across the line. Can he push himself back into the points lead today? They're rolling into the CarMate Mountain Ridge round of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series, presented by Maxxis. This is an AMA National Championship. Yes, there's a wind farm not far from our track, and there's a reason for that. We're up on the ridge of a mountain, and that means some unpredictable weather. We had mud this morning for our 4x4 and novice riders, and you see there's fog and mist, potentially more rain in the forecast as our pro riders, such as Adam McGill, get set to go racing. Wow, McGill getting crazy here, just part of opening ceremonies. Watch out for Jared McClure. Made a mud race in West Virginia at Snowshoe, and he took the victory there. They call him the sneaky snake, and in conditions like this, he could be the man to beat. But they're all focused on the number 2 of Walker Fowler, who won our last race at Unadilla and took the points lead away from McGill, who has been luckless at the last 2 rounds. Let's go racing for 2 hours here in PA. I'm Jason Wygant to give you the call on Racer TV. Hard into the first turn. I thought Fowler on the number 2 is going to get it. No, it's going to be Landon Wolf. $250 for the AMSOIL Whole Shot Award, but here comes Fowler. Manages to get in front of him in turn 2, and there's McGill on the outside, 3rd place. On a big tangle up, Chris Borich, your defending series champ, and Brian Wolf getting into it. They are way back. Chris Bithell as well, so a couple of the favorites off to bad starts. But probably the 2 biggest favorites have good starts, and that is Fowler and McGill. 1st and 2nd in points, 1st and 2nd in the race. Now, if you're new to watching Grand National Cross Country Racing here on NBCSN, we'll give you a primer. Lay out a track in the woods today, about 11 miles, and you just follow those orange arrows in the trees to figure out where to go on the first lap. No practice or pre-running. So the riders are battling each other while trying to figure out the track and, of course, deal with the elements. We run it rain or shine here in the woods. When you take these conditions in a race that goes for 2 hours, it's going to be a real test for both the riders and their equipment. You see they're just trying to carefully pick their way through the big rocks here and not smash anything on the bottom of the machines. You have to stay within 25 feet of those course arrows we showed you earlier, and there's Wolf on the right side trying to make it happen by using up all the 25 feet he is allotted. Now we race here in Pennsylvania. You can see how rocky this soil is, and every year we come here it gets a little bit worse. You dig out a little more dirt between each boulder. As McGill continues to chase Fowler, the track gets rougher. They have to adjust the machines in accordance. Bryson Neal here on the number 6, up to 3rd. And everyone else covered in mud. This is where it gets tough. But I'm going to venture to guess that's Brent Sturdivant, who comes and joins us part-time in this series and is always good in these rocky conditions. And then Jared McClure coming through. This is Brian Wolf on 341. He has made up a ton of time. Those alternate lines he was taking in the woods really paying off. Fowler starting to get away as they're into the open stuff for the first time. Now, normally this would be the easy part of the course, but the problem is the rain is coming. The goggle systems these riders have are great at shedding mud, but a driving rain right on the lens, hard to see where you're going. We'll see if Fowler can figure out how to get through the next lap. 1 lap down, Adam McGill giving chase in 2nd. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL. By Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is Ohio's Walker Fowler riding on the NFAB Ampro factory-back Yamaha YFC 450 ATV and getting away right now from Adam McGill, who is 2nd. McGill here on the CST Pirate MX DeRisi Racing Lone Star Racing machine. Keeps digging. We'll see how the conditions change his track. Down in the woods here, it actually looks pretty good because the leaves on the trees catch a lot of the moisture that'll make the field sections very slippery. And actually some dust at the top of this hill. I don't expect it to be like that for long, though. And there's Chris Boric, who had that bad start, and he has been eating most of the roost and mud, and yes, dust also off the rear tires of his competitors. Fowler motoing his way through that section, some whoops out of that corner. Let's see how McGill handles it. Gets the front end light. McGill has really improved his starts this year, but now Fowler has as well. I haven't seen Fowler get off to a good run like this early often, but today is just what he needs. Got the points lead at our last race when there was some bad luck for McGill. His crew ended up having to push his machine across the line, and at the previous race, prior to that, McGill was battling with McClure for the win in the last lap and got stuck. So the last two races have been bad results for McGill, an 8th and a 9th, even though he was running in first or second the majority of those races. And that's what has allowed Fowler to get the points lead. And now he's slipping away at this race here in Pennsylvania. And you see some of the orange and blue coats out there. That's the KTM motorcycle crew out there scouting the course for tomorrow's bike race. That's the cool thing about Grand National Cross Country Racing. We have ATVs and bikes, race to ATVs Saturdays, bikes on Sundays, and there's a ton of amateur classes, youth divisions as well. We even have racing for side-by-sides or UTV machines after the ATVs are done rolling. So there's something for everyone if you think you can handle this. Coming out and trying. Of course, going as fast as these riders is something different. They're the best in the business at what they do. Man, every time you see Wolf, you see steam coming out of that machine. Hope he's able to keep it running to the finish line. Well, heck, there's steam coming out of every machine. You just hope it's mud hitting the hot exhaust pipes and no other problems. Look at Bryson Neal, solid in third. Great run on the B. Neal Motorsports Max's back machine. Has a pair of top 3 placings already this year and hoping for another. No change in the order. Then it's Shadron, then it's McClure, and then Wolf. And next in the order should be Boric, your 6-time champion of the series, but it has been a tough year for him, and more than likely is going to hand that #1 plate over. But who will he hand it over to? Will it be Fowler, leading the race and the series standings, or McGill, who's second right now, both in the race and the standings, but has led the points most of the year? And you can see how hard McGill is working and trying to make up ground on Fowler. And it looks to be heating up for 3rd and 4th. Shadron has gotten around Neal. And they've got Wolf now right with them. Same thing with McClure. And then here comes Boric. And it's hard to say what happened. Somewhere through the midway point of last season, something changed for Boric. He was still the dominant figure until Fowler got on a roll. Boric won the series finale last year in a great race with Fowler to win the title. But outside of that race, we have not seen much of what we expect from Chris Boric. No wins so far this year. Now, Boric did switch from his trusty old Suzukis to a Yamaha this year, but again, even last year on the Suzuki, the results weren't quite typical for him. So not sure what has happened to the champ, but I can tell you these riders have busted the door down and they're not asking questions. Here's Boric keeping them in sight. We'll see if he can make a run toward the podium today. The veteran out of Pennsylvania. Back into the fields we go. Fowler still leading and looking, waiting, watching. When is McGill going to get to him? And we will have fuel stops here as well. I would say go through the pits. That could potentially change things as well. Will McGill try a different strategy just to try to get ahead of Fowler? And the temperatures keep dropping and the rain keeps coming. The conditions are only going to get that much more treacherous. Stay with us. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL and by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Well, the great thing about AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Racing, the fans can go wherever they want, and they always figure out where the good spots are, like this big, steep, rocky uphill climb. And that is fun to listen to McGill just feathering the throttle real low in the RPMs and gets a little bit of clutch. Brings it back up. Let's see how McClure handles it now in third. Yeah, hear that little burst of RPM before that last steep part. And a lot of RPM there as Shadron and Neal continue to battle. Here's Chris Borich. Back out of the open stuff for Fowler. Trying to figure out the right line through that ditch and then on the power. I think what we're seeing here is Fowler and McGill continue to dominate this event as well as the series. It's that classic thing. There's only 2 races to go after this, and the championship motivation is making those two awfully hard to stop. McClure has ridden well to get up to third, but to go and rip first or second away from 2 riders who desperately need the points, not going to be easy. Shadron and Neal still having a great tussle. Wolf and Borich in it as well. That's a lap rider, I believe, who's hooked onto that group, and that will be a factor also because we have the Pro-Am class, which is being dominated, by the way, by Cole Train Richardson. It's a teammate for Fowler. That's the stepping stone to the Pro class, Pro-Am or XC2. And then we have our A and B classes for higher level amateurs, but they're still amateurs. They don't ride and train for a living, and they're going to get tired in these rough conditions, and then these pro riders will catch them. Then you can imagine trying to weave your way through the trees and traffic. McClure has won this battle for third, no doubt about it. He's pulled away from the rest of that group, but he cannot find the lead duo. And here comes that group. Shadron, you can tell the headlights on the left side of your screen, is third. Neal, Borich, and Wolf battling it out. And there's the first sign of traffic for Fowler, but also a sign of, did I actually see some sun? I don't know about that. I think who's actually just the camera adjusting as we hit some open land. And McGill, what a hard-fought effort today. Going all out, but can't quite close the gap on Walker Fowler. And now a similar story for McClure. Back by JMR and ATVriders.com. Just trying to close the gap. Whoa! Almost spit off the machine in those rocks. Well, that's Brian Wolf, and I can't say I'm surprised. I've said it over and over on these shows. Nobody carries momentum through rough, rocky terrain or tree roots like Brian Wolf. He will just let that machine bounce underneath him, but occasionally there's a downside to that. Fowler just stalled it there, no problem. I mean, Wolf just hangs it out. These are his types of conditions. Deep in the woods with these big rocks. Oh, McGill still fighting. Then it's McClure third, and that torrid battle that Wolf is trying to win to get into fourth. Here it is. Neal, Shadron, Borich, and Wolf still fighting and still steaming as well. Boy, those guys, that's got to be fun actually to race like that. Everywhere they go, they've got someone to battle with. And in a 2-hour race, the intensity is there, but it's not quite as crazy as it would be in a motocross race. So you hear these guys sometimes hooting and hollering at each other. And then, of course, having good times bench racing about it when the races are over. McClure still third, trying to close up. And now Wolf has gone to the front of that battle. He's gone around Shadron, Borich, and Bryson Neal. In fact, we lost Neal altogether from that fight. So what was a 4-rider tussle is now down to 3. Man, what are they going to do at Walker Fowler, though? He has found his stride here in the second half of the year for the second year in a row. Won the race coming out of the break at Unadilla 2 weeks ago and is looking to go wire to wire practically today. Landon Wolf got a quick hole shot on him, but he was around him in the second turn, and since then, he has led every inch of it. So let's see if McGill can make a run here at Fowler. 2 laps to go, and 2 races will remain in the season when this one's over. McGill's going to dig deep. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL and by Rocky Mountain ATV. Want to sit back and listen to this. Walker Fowler up on the pegs, blasting his way to the top of a rocky hill climb, and then lap traffic is everywhere. I told you this would happen, and it's impeding the progress of second place Adam McGill, veteran out of West Virginia, led the points early in this year, but the last 2 races have been luckless for him, and now he's desperate. He's got to catch Walker Fowler, who is your new points leader. And there is McGill in second, trying to do that, trying to catch him, trying to pass him, trying to get to him, but Fowler is just so solid, so talented. 2004, we reignited the old youth ATV racing series, ran a one-off race, and Fowler won it. Became a multi-time youth champion, then went up through the amateur ranks, won every single race in the XC2 Pro-Am division a few years back, had a perfect season, and has spent the last few years, Fowler, battling the master, Chris Borich, trying to win races and titles at the very top level. He did not get the title last year, Fowler. He was very, very close. It came down to the last lap, the last turn in the last race, and Borich edged him. But all these lessons could pay off this year. He wants that #1 plate, and the only one who can stop him is Adam McGill. Here he is in second. A lap and a half to go. You're going to see the best these two have to offer. And it's so difficult leading one of these because you're on your own, setting your own pace. If you're McGill, you kind of know where Fowler is. Probably can see him in some of the longer stretches. His crew can keep updating him. If you're Fowler, you're just, as they say, the cliche, riding your own race. You don't really have any way to see McGill or know what he's up to. You do know this. The Yamaha people are pumped because the white flag is coming out. Oh, I thought that was McGill there. No, there he is in the field. He has definitely closed the gap. Not as close as he would like it to be, but certainly with about a 30-minute lap yet to run, this is a gap that he could bridge. But he might need a mistake from Fowler to do it, or maybe some lap traffic. Here's the big uphill for the final time. Oh, a little tough at the top. See all the rain on our camera, and you can see that McGill is closing in. That's the smallest gap I've seen since lap 1. Fowler trying to stay smooth out front. And McGill is digging so deep back here, trying to get around the lap traffic. Now there's no doubt he can hang it out, but will it be enough? Can he go fast enough and then avoid the big mistake while pushing the pace? Fowler has done such a good job of riding within himself, riding his own race, picking his own lines. Those are all standard things you're going to hear the racers say, but it works. He has not thought about the competition. He has raced the track today. And McGill looking for one last burst. But it is so hard to find more time in these rough conditions. You can often lose as much time as you gain. You make one little mistake, you tag a rock or a tree wrong, and anything you've made up previous in the lap, you're going to throw that away and more. Just saw Jared McClure roll by in the number 4. He is still third. And Chris Borich, by attrition, is 4th. The kids, both Neil and Shadron, have gone backwards. And he always knows how to close these races strong. He'd, of course, like to be in the lead rather than 4th place, but he'll take it. Oh, McGill hustling. So I'm looking ahead of that one corner, just trying to steal a glance. Where is Fowler? What is he doing? And McGill can't quite get there. McClure solid in 3rd, but Borich is coming, and the number 1 plate speaks volumes. You do not want that guy in your rear fenders on the last lap. No one's on the rear fenders of Fowler. This is exactly what he needed, a dominant performance to further extend the lead. In rough conditions, it's his 6th win in 11 races this year, and what an effort for Adam McGill. At least this time, the machine kept running all the way to the end. 2nd place is good, but due to the bad luck at the previous 2 rounds, he lost a lot of points. He needed to gain some back today. He's going to come up just short of doing that, and here comes the 4 of McClure, who has become a consistent podium guy and finally got that breakthrough first win a couple of races ago at Snowshoe in West Virginia. So McClure is going to edge out Chris Borich, who ends up 4th. You see him come by there on the number 1. Neal wins that back and forth battle. Shadron drops to 6th. Wolf, Merritt, Johnny Gallagher, and Brent Sturdivant rounds out the top 10. That's the Rocky Mountain results. And now time for your AMSOIL race recap. Well, it didn't take long for Walker Fowler to get to the lead. Didn't take long for Adam McGill to get to 2nd. Behind them, a great battle broke out. 4 riders fighting for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Jared McClure would ultimately win that one to get to 3rd. McGill was solid in 2nd, but just couldn't make enough ground up on Fowler, who has won 6 times this year, has the points lead as 2 races remain. Things are looking good for a first-time champion. Stay with us all year long on NBCSN.